Yeah. 2. Yeah. Aye. I'm jacking the beat, you calling the cops. The yapping is cheap, I call you the ops. The rapping is heating, it's all cause of pop. You get a leak for the ball, get a drop. Feel like I'm wrong when I double it back, cause I'm making it harder to catch that. But I covered the ticket, I call you to visit. You tipping and hit up the cash app. Baby girl, been around for it, yeah. In the old days, I was stuck in old ways. Never really trying to flip the old page. Young man tripping at an old age. Thinking I was flicking, had a low wage. Led the bro days, then a slow praise. Thinking it'd be different, it would gon' change. Then it really didn't, it's a cold game, yeah. Ay, all I really wanted was the money in the pocket. Got over money, but the money ain't a topic. Like Bill Doe and the money gotta stop it. Kid need food and the whip need juice. I'ma get these views when the
Why they party? I'm in here grinding. Money I'm stacking. Why they rock diamonds? I can't relate to them, ain't much in common. I set a goal for me 2 or 3 commas. 7 figures, 8 figures to 9 figures. On a slow pace to get rich quick. Same time we just think different. Cause when you make it, it hit different.
What it do, baby? It's your partner Dale, looking old, so fresh, cold, clean. You see that thing, baby? And welcome to another edition of the Countermove Podcast, where we take an issue right now, whether it be economic, political, or social, unpack it together, infuse wisdom to that thing, man, lean in and begin to prescribe the right solution. So, guys, if you could, thank you so much for your time. If you could share if this is valuable for you, and also subscribe, guys. And this was going to be a very good one. I'm always told that I like to kind of attack or talk about some issues that typically people don't talk about. Well, my whole thing is I'm trying to infuse some wisdom into the equation to see how we can kind of reason together. And there's been a lot of divide concerning a topic that everybody named Mama has heard about. Now, I'm going to preface by saying this here. I am not here to debate on innocence or guilt at all, period. That is not what I'm doing here. This is just for us to unpack the facts of what's going on, okay? So you're going to hear me say that a lot in this presentation, but I pray that you guys receive it well. And hey, give me your comments. Let me know what I could do better. I'm always open for some wise counsel. So guys, let's dive into this thing real quickly, guys, all right? There's been a lot of discussion concerning this topic right here. Trump versus Biden, the classified documents cases uncovered, right? There's been a lot of talk around that, right? There's been people pro-Trump, pro-Biden. Both of them have special counsels. Both of them are under investigation. Both sides are spinning here and there and everywhere. I mean, you see it happening a lot. And so a lot of people are picking sides. I'm not one of those guys who's going to pick sides. I thought it'd be wise for us to look at both of these cases, not to listen to the spin, because you can go to Fox News or MSNBC or ABC, pick one of those alphabet letters and get spent. Here, we're going to look at it and understand what's going on. And I think I have a point of view that not a lot of people are really talking about. Very few, not a lot. And I've kind of unpacked this a lot with a lot of attorneys here, right? That are some are pro-Trump, some are not, some are anti-Trump, some don't give a damn. They're just looking at the facts, and some are pro-Biden, some are anti-Biden. I don't care about none of that. So, but it was cool to sit down and talk with them because I'm not an attorney. I'm a lay person like most of you guys watching. And thank you for blessing with your time. So I thought, guys, it'd be wise for us to look at something that most people are not looking at all. All right? It is the Constitution. This whole discussion derives from this person, this point of view, the Constitution. Now, why do I begin this? I've been noticing a lot of the times, most of the discussion has an origination point that is pro both sides, right? But neither one of them really begin at the really true origination points, because these two classified document cases have two different origination points of when the classified documents are even at play. All right. So let's look at the Constitution. I thought it'd be wise to look at it real fast and let's read it. Right. Let's read it. Now, let's go through this is Article 2. Let me change this background real fast, guys. This is Article 2, right? This is Article 2, Section 1. This is talking about the executive branch of the United States, right? I want you guys to read this with me. I've done this before in past Countermove podcasts, and I thought it'd be wise to bring it back here. And I want us to focus on one specific place, all right? Well, a couple places, but really one. It says, the executive power shall be vested in, the key thing here is it says, a president. One person, right? So the presidency is a very unique branch, right? Because it's vested in one person. Come to me real fast, right? It's vested in one person. Now, that's different. That's different when it comes to the judicial and the legislative branch. Both the judicial and legislative branch, they actually have a plethora of multiple individuals in that said branch, right? The judicial branch are the judges, the courts, right? The legislative branch is the Senate and the House of Representatives. There's a multitude of individuals in both of those branches. In the presidency, it is unique because it's just one person. All authority derives from that one person. That's why it says right here, guys. That's why it says right here, the executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States. One person. That means the Department of Defense, all departments, Department of Energy, Secretary of State, all of the Department of Justice, all of those departments flow from the president. They flow from him. He alone is the branch. He alone has all the authority, right? A president, guys, has the sole and ultimate authority to declassify and classify documentation because he is the branch, right? I know this is a little bit of a civic lesson, but he is the branch, guys. He is it. He is not beneath the Department of Justice, Department of Energy, Department of Defense, because those three departments are part of the executive branch, and the president himself is the branch alone himself, right? Not the vice president. Now, I want you to read this real quickly. It says, the executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. Notice it didn't say a president and a vice president. It says a president, one person, right? I know I'm beating this drum fairly loud, but I'm doing this for a reason. Hang with me, all right? It says, he shall hold his office during a term of 4 years and together with the vice president. Now you see the vice president there, right? Chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. And they go through all the electors, then nature, all this. They go through all of this stuff here, all right? This is Article 2, right? Article 2, Section 1, which is solely about the executive branch, right? You got it? Cool. Now, that's going to be very important as we begin to unpack both of these cases real quickly. Now, let me kind of give you guys some comfort. I'm not going to be reading legal documents, guys. That's not going to happen at all. What I am going to do is we're only going to invite in Wall Street Journal. They lean a little bit left, but that's okay. And we're going to see how they unpack what's going on. And we're going to look at the Biden case first and then the Trump case second. All right, here we go. Let's bring the Wall Street Journal in real quickly. And they're going to begin talking about this case. Here we go. And let's share it. I got you, baby. Boom. Let's get it in and let's go. Let's listen what they got to say. Here we go.
Federal investigators allege both President Biden and former President Donald Trump retained and disclosed classified materials. Trump after leaving office, and Biden after serving as vice president.
Stop right there. Do you see the distinction right there? You see the distinction that she just said? Trump as the president when he was leaving office, and then the president, then Biden as the vice president. But she left out a fact. Also when he was a senator. So the origination points for both these cases originate from a different point in time, from an office standpoint. Biden, senator, vice president. Trump, president. We just read in the Constitution that all executive power is vested in a president, not a senator who's part of the legislative branch, and not a vice president who's part of the executive branch, but with no authority vested in him. Because that's for the president, right? So we have to understand the two different origination points here. Let's keep going, guys. This is going to be really good. Here we go.
But unlike Trump, who faces felony charges for mishandling sensitive material, a special counsel decided criminal charges against Biden were not warranted.
There are some parallels between the two presidents. But then when you get into how they both responded to revelations that they might have some documents, that's where their paths really diverged.
Stop right there. Now, she began by saying that her origination point is when how they both responded. That's the incorrect origination point for both of these cases, because there are three offices that are involved, right? For Trump, it's one, the presidency. He was the president. For Joe Biden, it was him being the senator and a vice president. Only one had the authority to declassify the president, right? Let's keep going, guys, man. This is good, man. This is good. Let's keep going.
Here's a look at the Biden and Trump investigations and why they led to different outcomes. In 2022, aides for President Biden found classified documents at both his home in Wilmington, Delaware, and the Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement in Washington, D.C. According to the Justice Department's report, documents were discovered in Biden's garage, home office, and basement den in Delaware. Those documents, many of them his own notes, included classified information about the U.S. military and foreign policy in Afghanistan. The discovery came just months after the FBI searched former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago property in Florida and seized 11 sets of classified documents.
Okay.
Images from the resort showed boxes of documents stashed in various locations, including in a bathroom, on a stage, and in storage rooms.
President Biden and former President Trump seemed to hang on to documents that specifically related to policies that were near and dear to their hearts, where they were involved in disputes with, other members of their government. They both seem to have shared some of this information with ghostwriters, in a way sort of bolstering their legacy and kind of showing that history will prove them right.
Despite Biden's careless handling of the documents, prosecutors said he should not face criminal charges. According to the report, Biden would likely present himself to the jury as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
This is the reason why I disagree with that premise from special counsel her. Now, and I let you know my response of if both of them should be charged at all at the end. Okay, is when it comes to prosecuting, the prosecution's job is to present the facts to said jury. The jury then makes a decision if there should be charges or not. That is now don't get it twisted. A prosecutor does have the I would say the authority to say I'm not going to charge them. They do have that, but how he laid it out in the report itself, he kind of took that away from the jury, saying that based on what I believe, I don't think I'm going to get a conviction in a court of law. But that's not for the prosecutor decision to make. That's for a jury to make, if that makes some sense. But I digress. Let's keep going, guys. This is going to get good. And one last thing. I'm sorry, guys. Forgive me. One last thing. If you notice, when they were talking about where Biden's documents were at, his home, his office in Delaware, and I'm in Washington, D.C., also his home in Delaware. And it was also one at the University, I believe, of Pennsylvania or in Delaware, I believe one of those two universities when he was there when he was a senator that he got from a skiff. Now, what is a skiff? A skiff, and I don't know the acronym of what a skiff is, but basically you got to go into this room, no phones, no nothing. You can't write anything down. You can only look at it. When you get out, when you get out, you can't really speak about what's actually in there, the specifics. It's highly sensitive, and only some select people can go in there when you are when you in Congress, when you are a House representative or a senator. But there were some documents taken out of a skiff by him as well, and that wound up being found as well also. So you see the difference between Trump as well as Biden is where Trump is located at. Yes, he had documents in places that were kind of weird, bathroom, and on the stage. I don't know. I've never been to Mar-a-Lago, so I don't know what it looks like at all inside besides what I see online and in pictures. But the difference between Biden and Trump is when a president actually leaves office, he keeps the Secret Service. So those documents were being guarded by the Secret Service. I've been told by people that I know that it's like Fort Knox getting into Mar-a-Lago because the Secret Service. And I would agree with that because when I went to an event here in Texas, Dallas, at a very well-known hotel, and President Trump was there, the Secret Service had the entire hotel guarded. It was like Fort Knox getting in there. Fort Knox, right? But anyways, I digress, guys. Let's keep going.
In part, the special counsel's report really focuses on the interview that President Biden did with investigators, and this was a 5-hour interview. He's asked a lot of questions about these documents. What the report says is that he seemed to have trouble remembering a lot of key details about the timing of certain events, including when his vice presidency ended, the year his son passed away, which obviously the president came out and forcefully denied.
So right there, you see where the special counsel how he begins talking about he focused a lot on the memory of President Biden, not on the origination of the documents being transported, those classified documents being in the possession of someone that never had the authority to have those documents. Not on that fact. It was on his memory of the documents which he actually had illegally. There's case law for that, right? So this is not an unconstitutional situation. There are laws on the books that can be easily prescribed for President Biden's context. If that makes some sense. Trump is a little different because of the fact that that's why it's in front of the Supreme Court. It's a constitutional question. So that's what it is, right? It's a constitutional question because you're dealing with the presidency. Not the vice presidency, the presidency, different than the vice presidency and a senator. Two different contexts, guys, right? So on the Trump case, it's a little bit more difficult. It's a little bit more, there's more nuance to it. It's more digging, it's more unknowns there because it's a constitutional issue. For President Biden's situation, there's laws on the books. Like him having those classified documents is a felony. That's on the books. It's already there. But the special counsel really focused just on the memory of President Biden, which to me, I'm like, I don't know about that one, Doc. I don't know about that one. That's not too hot, but let's keep going. I digress.
How in the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business.
The Justice Department also cited several clear distinctions between the Trump and Biden cases.
Okay.
The report said Biden surrendered classified documents to the National Archives and the Department of Justice, consented to the search of multiple locations, sat for an interview with investigators, and cooperated with the investigation.
Stop right there. Here is what he's focusing on. He's focusing on, well, Biden turned over the documents to the National Archives. That's great. 40 years later. So if you go back to him being a senator He has 40 years in government, 40 years. Time as a senator, he was a senator for a long period of time, guys. And then the vice presidency, right? So 8 years as vice president, right? And a number of years, let's just say 40 years, 32 years as a senator, right? I may be wrong on the numbers, but forgive me. 32 years as a senator and 8 years as vice president, right? So the special counsel is focusing on, well, he turned in the classified documents. That's not what you should be focusing on because he's not a president. He was a senator and a vice president who had no authority to having these documents. That's what the focus should be on concerning President Biden at the time, was when he actually committed the act. Not that, I committed the act, but I came and told on myself. That is not how it actually works, guys. No, sir. And then it says consent to search of multiple locations. Now, both President Biden and both President Trump actually consented to searches. Both of them did, right? So they both shook hands there. President Trump had I believe, the FBI come a number of times down to Mar-a-Lago. There were reports him saying, hey, give them whatever they need, no problem. They even advised him to put some type of lock on the door. He did it as well. So there were consent for both parties for the searches. Both consented. Then it says also, set for a voluntary interview. I know President Biden has. I don't know President Trump has not at all. Period. Because now it's an illegal battle. When the raid happened on Mar-a-Lago, then now the laws and now the law enforcement's involved now. So now you have what I call the suits involved, which is the attorneys. That makes some sense. So you see an execution for the documents on the Biden case a lot different than on the Trump case. A lot different. Biden was given an opportunity to interview. Trump was not. Not at all, if that makes some sense. In other ways, cooperated with the investigation. I would say both cooperated with the investigation initially. They both did. After the raid, that's when, on Mar-a-Lago, that's when Trump changed his position and said, well, wait a minute. If you're going to do a raid on my house and do what you did without even alerting me, because they were not alerted, now I have to get my suits involved now. Now I think to take you to the court now. So it was more confrontational on the Trump case versus on the Biden case. It was a little bit more softer, right? But both consented to searches of locations. Both did. The context changed after the raid, if that makes some sense. Let's keep going. Here we go.
Meanwhile, Trump's classified documents case includes 40 counts on 7 different charges. The indictment against Trump alleges he retained the classified documents and directed his staff to help him evade authorities' efforts to retrieve them.
Carlos, has Mr. Trump spoken to you?
That included an alleged attempt to delete surveillance footage from his Mar-a-Lago club.
Trump may have sort of moved some boxes around, told his lawyers to look in one set of boxes and not given them all of them, and then turned over to the Justice Department an incomplete set of documents. And then, as the FBI investigated, they realized there was more things left behind at Mar-a-Lago, and they had to ultimately execute a search warrant to get all of those documents back.
Trump has denied wrong.
Now notice after is when the Department of Justice got involved, guys. It was after the FBI actually came down and advised Trump to put a lock here. The Secret Service is there. There was some cooperation there. It expedited to a raid fairly quickly, and so that's what kind of happened. As far as when it came to the other part with when it was AIDS, I don't know the AIDS now. I don't know who that person is. I don't know about that at all. Period. But I'm not focused on that. I'm focusing I'm focusing on the authority of both of these candidates when it came to classified documents. Let's keep going. Here we go.
Wrongdoing and has accused the Justice Department of a double standard in treatment.
If Biden is not going to be charged, he said, that's up to them. Look, if he's not going to be charged, that's up to them. But then I should not be charged.
You don't want to talk about the document?
For Biden, the report damage is twofold. The statements made about his memory could have a negative effect on his re-election campaign and boost the campaign of his main opponent.
That's
Do you feel
my
your memory has gotten worse, Mr.
No,
President?
my memory is not good. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I become president. None of you thought I could pass any of the things I got passed. How'd that happen? I guess I just forgot what was going on.
While this report does obviously exonerate the president and say he shouldn't face a criminal case, it really did touch on his political Achilles heel, which is his age and whether or not he's too old for this job. The report clearly doesn't help the president try to make that case that he is up to the job and he's not too old to serve as president for another.
Well, she was actually incorrect concerning exoneration. Not based on what I think the special counsel testified in front of the House Judiciary Committee this week, right? Earlier this week. And he said to one of the representatives, he did not exonerate President Biden. That was not what he was doing at all. So she was actually incorrect there. But it's very interesting. You see a different context there. Now, let's go to so now we've seen the Constitution now, right? We're looking at both the Biden case and we're looking at both the Trump case. All right. So here we go. How you doing, Cece? Good to see you, baby girl. Good to see you. Now, let's go back here real quickly. All right, guys. So let's look at the Biden case real fast. Here we go. Here's kind of a timeline of the President Biden case. Okay, this is kind of a timeline. Let's see here, and I'm going to breeze through this real quickly. I won't be here long at all, guys. Just fairly quickly here, all right? Boom. Here we go. Here's kind of a timeline, right? November the 2nd, the White House discovered right here. I'm going to make it bigger for everybody. Here we go. November the 2nd. This is the Biden case, all right? November 2nd, the White House discovered classified documents from Biden's time as a vice president at the Penn Biden Center in D.C. The documents were found while Biden's personal attorneys were packing files that were stored in a locked closet at the think tank, the White House said. On the day of this discovery, November 2nd, the White House Counsel Office notified the National Archives. Now, here is, and that's all great and wonderful. That's fine. My question is, again, I have to go back to the Constitution, guys. What the Constitution is, as a senator and or a vice president, right? Senator being part of the legislative branch, as well as the vice president being a part of the executive branch, but does not have the authority of the executive branch. Only the president does. So says the Constitution. We read it earlier, right? Now, him actually having those documents without having that authority, right? That's an Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution. He's in violation of the law automatically. Where the story begins when it comes to President Biden in this case is, well, he willfully gave him over. And that's fine. I'm glad he did. The question is, why did you have it in the first place? Because legally, you don't have the authority to even have those. You don't have the authority even to declassify anything at all, because you had him as a senator, which means you got it out of the skiff, number one. And then number two, as the vice president, you had no authority to even have classified documents post your tenure as vice president. So the question I got to ask is, why does the story begin after when he responds? Not by having the documents, because there's laws on the books that govern it right now that says he's committed a felony right there on the spot. It's not based on my thought process. This is the law. So we have to be real honest and begin to have the discussion at the proper origination point, which is what? Sir, President Biden, all due respect, you are senator, number one. And number two, you were also vice president. You have classified documents. You have no authority to be having those in the first place. The same reality is for Vice President Pence as well. He was found out to have classified documents as well. Same thing applies for him. Same thing. So there's an equalness there when it comes to the office of vice president and the office of the senator, of being a senator. How it's different for a president is all authority is vested in a president of the United States. One person. he's different from the other two branches because the other two branches actually have a plethora of members. The executive branch only has one member that has authority. That is the president. Every department flows from him. At the time of President Biden having these documents, he was not the president. He was a senator and a vice president. That act of having classified documents, that's the problem, right? That is the problem that I have when it comes to these documents. If that makes some sense, you got a comment on the Instagram, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching. You're allowed to have classified materials. They just have to sign out and control. Actually, that is incorrect. That is incorrect. The only person that has the authority to transfer classified documents is the president himself. So, because as vice president and a senator, right? As a senator, he took it out of the SCIF. A SCIF. He had no authority to take it out of the SCIF at all, which means it was stolen. Number two, as a vice president, he has no authority for declassified documents. If he could sign it out and take it, why is this even an issue? Because there should be a paper trail of him signing it out. And there's not, if that makes some sense. So we got to begin to be honest around the origination point of the Biden case. We can't start it at when he responded. We have to start it at why he had the documents. If that makes some sense, all right? I'm not going to bore you with all of the other details. You got to spend for that as well, all right? So that's a good look at the Biden case, right? So again, start at the right point. At the right point, that makes some sense, right? Now we got another comment. Says, I was a security manager for a top secret. I say, okay, I carried security manager. And that is great. If that is the case, that's my dude Ames, my dude there. That's the case. Why is this even an issue then? President Biden should be able to just show, I signed off for these. Where's paper trail at? Where's it at? This shouldn't be an issue at all. If what you're saying is correct for that office, for the office of senator and the office of vice president, it should be a paper trail for it. It should be no problems then. Why is this even an issue? Why was there even an investigation if there's a paper trail for it? If what you're saying is correct, I'm rocking with you, but it's not present here. Why? That's an honest question. Now, let's go, guys, to get rid of this real quickly here, guys. Let's go over to President Trump's case now, right? President Trump's case. That's the best one. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the business side. That's fine. Let's go down. Let's look at the Trump case now. All right. So let's go forward. Let's see here. There we go. Boom. Let's go to Trump case. Now, before I go to Trump case, how his is different. He is a president. We just read in the Constitution, all executive authority is in a president. It's vested in one person, a president. So I'll say from the get-go, you have two different contexts. You have on the Biden side, senator, vice president, and on the Trump side, you actually have the president. Now, here we go. Let's look at the timeline for this case as well also, right? Make this bigger for everybody in the back row. And thank y'all for your time, guys. I know this could be a little boring, but it's kind of interesting to me. So thank you for your time. All right, here we go. Now, let's go to the timeline here. Here's timeline. February the 7th. It says the National Archives and Records Administration confirms a Washington Post reporter that Trump took several boxes of office White House records and memorabilia to Mar-a-Lago when they should be turned over to NARA, an independent federal agency that preserves government and historical records. Now, this is a key point here. The reason here is again, we have to go to back to the office, to the Constitution again, right? It says in the executive branch, all authority is in the president himself. All right, all authority is vested in him. Now, the question I got to ask is, how long is that authority vested in him? Well, the answer to that question is, I think on January the 10th or 11th, forgive me, guys, if I don't have the date correct when it comes to the swearing of a president. At 12 noon, a new president at the end of a term is sworn in. At 11:59, up to 11:59 and 59 seconds, right? The current president is still the president. This fact really kind of surprised me because I got to understand the whole nuance of the transfer of power. It was pretty cool. Now, and I'm gonna get to the transfer of the documents back. I'm gonna get to that as well. Also, typically what happens is when an outgoing president is moving, right, and incoming president is moving in. This is done in hours, and then moving stuff, move stuff, and stuff is transported, right? Now the question I have to ask is this here. I said, okay, whenever documents are being moved out of the White House to a now former president's new home or old home, so to speak, do they normally take documents? Or do they know that they take a lot of documents? The answer is yes. I found out that when it came to Obama, when Obama came out, from Obama, George Bush, George A.W. Bush, who else? Clinton, boxes are taken, right? Now, the question I got to ask is this here is, okay, since all authority is vested in a president, what does declassification look like from a president when he is a president? Because I hear a lot of, he didn't go through the process. Well, what is the process? Because based on the Constitution, he is the process, right? Can he say it? Can with actually just moving documents, things of that nature? Because what happens is when an outgoing president is moving out, what normally happens, and this was fascinating to me, there is a negotiation between NARA and the outgoing president, or at the time of former president, of documents. They say we need these documents back, which is fine, and I get to that in a second. But we had started at the right origination point. From the office from a president, what does declassifying look like from the president's standpoint? That is the source of contention when it comes to this case against President Trump. Is when does that begin? Does it begin when he says it? When he thinks it? When he moves stuff? Because he is the branch alone. He didn't submit to the process of the executive branch because he is the branch. So do you see the difference in context and origination points, right? And so on the Trump case, the question in front of the Supreme Court or any court is, okay, when does this declassification authority, what does it look like? Right? What does it look like? Because that has not been defined. Because all the Constitution says is all authority is vested in a president. That's what it says. So it's as the legal scholars say, it's silent here. So they have to bring in some type of the judicial branch to add some clarity here on what the framers meant at that time frame. So that's why this is vitally important from a executive branch standpoint. Forget Trump right now. The executive branch standpoint is, what does declassification look like in the context of a president? Because it has not been answered. On President Biden's side, there's laws on the books that govern his actions. On President Trump's side, it's silent there. That's the difference there. And this was fascinating to me because I'm like, man, this is a good exercise, a good civic exercise on what is going on. That makes some sense. But let's keep going. Now, we read here right here, it says the National Archives of Records, or NARA, administration confirms that Washington Post reported that Trump took several boxes of official White House records and memorabilia in Mar-a-Lago when they should have been turned over to NARA, an independent federal agency that preserves government and historical records. Now, this right here, this whole section right here, the question I asked, I said, has this been done before with any type of document, memorabilia, whatever else, an outgoing president? Has it happened before? And how was it handled? When there was a source of contention, Was there what was the solution? Did the judicial branch step in? All these questions begin coming into my mind because in the area of declassification or removing documents, the Constitution is silent when it comes to the president. So I said, okay, let me look at it and see if this actually happened before. Now, let's go to here. Now, I'm going to go here because this was the only thing I could really find concerning this, all right? Judicial Watch actually filed a lawsuit years ago concerning some Clinton sock drawer audio tape case exonerates President Trump. I don't know about all that, but anyways. But it says a decade-old legal case, right, that could exonerate President Trump has been buried by whatever. Special Counsel Jackson, figure out this here. What happened is Judicial Watch actually sued decades ago on some sock drawer audio case when it came to President Clinton. Now, what happened here is because this is a lot of legal jargon. What happened here is Judicial Watch said, "Hey, we actually want that document that actually belongs not to President Clinton because it was in the White House. That belongs to the people, i.e., NARA, right? We want that audio tape." Well, they took it to a court to the judicial branch because why? In this area, the Constitution is silent. So they brought in the judicial branch, i.e. Judge Jackson. Judge Jackson actually declared that she said that's actually because Clinton was saying that no, those are my tapes, those are mine. Judicial Watch said no, these are the government's tapes. No, they're not. Judge Jackson ruled and said no, these are Clinton's tapes. So Clinton got to keep those tapes, right? That actually originated when he was president. So what Judicial Watch was saying is according to this here, right? This was the case of Farrell is referring to is titled Judicial Watch versus National Archives and Records Administration, also known as the Clinton sock drawer case. Former President Bill Clinton created White House audio tapes with historian Taylor Branch and stored them in a sock drawer. Judicial Watch sued to obtain access to those tapes and lost. Why they lose? Because of the fact that Judge Jackson said that no, those are President Clinton's tapes. Even though these were originated while he was president, those are his tapes. So now we have precedents, legal precedents in the case now when it comes to some sort of documentation or memorabilia, right? That would kind of go into memorabilia because the Constitution in this area is silent. It's silent, right? So you better believe when it comes to the Supreme Court, Trump's attorneys are using this case because it fits right into this, right into this. So now, people have said also that President Trump did not give the documents back. That's actually incorrect. The one thing that I actually noticed, well, I'm actually wrong. That's actually correct, partially correct, I would say. I'm actually wrong. It's partially correct. Whenever a president leaves office, this was fascinating to me. Boxes are always transferred, right? They have a crew that does all that, right? If you go online, go to YouTube, you can actually see literal people moving stuff out of the White House and move stuff in. Those are moving teams, right? What tripped me out, guys, is this here is every president has a negotiation with NARA. Obama had it. Of course, you say Clinton had it as well also. And even Trump actually had it, right? And so there's always a source of negotiation between NARA and the former president of the United States at the time. Because the president says sometimes, no, this is mine. No, and the NARA says, no, this is mine. And so there's a backing forth. but there's a cooperation back and forth going on. And then what actually happens is this here is it can go to court as well also, and it's normal, and it is a civil matter. It's not a criminal matter. I just said, dang, it's a civil matter because it's over documents. There's not even a criminal statute attached to it. That's why the special counsel, Jack Smith, for the Trump case, is using the Espionage Act and the Klan Act and the some government Contractor Act, which does not apply at all to the office of the president because he is the branch himself. And the Constitution is silent. Let's relook at the Constitution again, guys. For the folk in the back row, guys. Excuse me. It says this here. It says right here in Article 2, right? Section 1. It says the executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States. All authority is in the president. That's it. That's why it's silent here. That's why it's silent. And that makes some sense, guys. This really kind of fascinated me, guys, because I began to learn what was going on. Now, let's go real quickly, guys, over to back over to the Trump case again, guys. All right. Now, it says right here. Let me go back to it. All right, we'll go back to it real fast. Make sure we're fair. Make sure we are fair. Right. It says the agency confirms. Right here. Confirms transport to recover 15 boxes of documents, and said Trump and his staff were continuing to search for additional presidential records that belong to the National Archives. Tell me what happens is I learned that this is not uncommon. Every president has done this. I just said, damn, wow. It says the items were said to include correspondence with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, and a letter former President Barack Obama left Trump in 2017. Right? Now watch this now. This is different. Okay? February 9th, right? It says typically there is a discussion, guys, between the outgoing president and his legal staff and NARA. This is where it differs from previous presidents, right? And what's going on with President Trump. This really fascinated me, guys, right? It says here, NARA asked the Department of Justice to investigate whether Trump violated federal record-keeping laws, the Washington Post reported. That's kind of odd because when it comes to these documents, there is no criminal statute attached to any of this. So why would NARA jump right to the DOJ if when it comes to these type of documents, this is normal operating procedure when it comes to outgoing presidents? If that makes some sense, right? Even when it came to Obama, I believe Obama transferred his documents over to NARA, the documents that he agreed to, right, to a NARA facility in Chicago. But there was a negotiation between NARA and Obama, NARA and Clinton, NARA and both Bushes. Why did NARA jump right to the Department of Justice? That's the question that I actually have there, if that makes some sense. Different context. The reason why I'm asking that question is because in the Constitution, this area is silent. You actually need the judiciary branch, right, to add some clarity to this because you have two legal camps battling. The legals on the NARA side, i.e. the government, and also President Trump's legal side. So they're battling. So you need a impartial judge in the middle, the judicial branch. So from the get-go, you see contention immediately. Versus in the past, there was a coordination. They talked, they disagreed, they agreed, they disagreed. This was normal. I just said, wow. But I would say this here. I'll say this here, guys, right? So again, I'm focusing just on the origination portions of both of these cases. That's it. Right? I'm not gonna go back and forth but in fact, no, if you want to get that, you want to get that type of spin, go on TV. Go listen to another podcast. That's not what I'm trying to do here at all. It's just my whole thing was I always say we have a saying when it comes to the Bible, or when it comes to the text, what the text say, or what the paper say, or the document say. We say what the text say. So I'd say, what does the Constitution say? Well, it's very simple. In the Constitution, and I'll go back to it again, guys. It says it's here. The executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States. It doesn't talk about anything about declassifying it all, period. It is silent here. So the question has to be this here. What does it look like for a president to declassify? What does it look like? That has to be defined. But when it comes to the documents case, guys, there is no criminal statute attached to that when it comes to a president. That's why I'm focusing on the offices. President Biden, you have what? Senator, vice president. No authority to declassify. The President Trump, presidency. President, he has the authority to declassify. What it looks like, we don't know. Don't know, because the Constitution is silent. Man, this is kind of fun. My head is hurting a little bit, guys, because I do a lot of research on this as well. Here is my reaction to this. All right, guys, I'm gonna get rid of this. Reaction to this. I believe that both President Biden and President Trump should not be charged with any of this at all. Number one, for President Biden, you cannot indict a sitting president. So why is this even coming up? Number two, when it comes to President Trump, the exercise that you guys are going through before the Department of Justice actually got in place was normal. Every president went through it. Every single president did. So it should not change when it comes to Trump. They should remain the exact same. That makes some sense, guys. But I believe both President Biden and President Trump should not face any charges at all. They should both run on their records and allow for the presidency to be decided by the people. That's it. By going out and voting. Not by prosecutors, not by judges, by the people of the United States, the legal citizens of the United States. Legal citizens. I gotta say that because we're in a different time right now. So, man, this was fun, guys. Man, I believe that if we begin to operate with some type of wisdom, guys, when it comes to this situation, you'll begin to not listen to all the noise of all the spinning and things of that nature. Because I know it's entertaining, but for me, I'm like, I ain't got time for that, man. No, what for? Doesn't make any sense to me at all. I got to make sure that I get it done the right way, which is what? Hey, both presidents should not be indicted and or charged. Let the people decide. It's that simple. By voting, and both candidates should run on your record and stand on it. Stand on that record. That makes some sense, guys. All right. So what's the Countermove, guys? It's called Countermove Podcast for a reason. I always say peep it, sweep it, and keep it, guys. I always begin with this: examine your current situation. It's very simple. So if I'm saying run on the record, it's up to you. Begin to look at both of the candidates' record, right? Because right now you have President Trump as the Republican nominee, President Biden as a Democrat nominee. It's real simple, guys. It's extremely simple. Whose record best reflects, whose record or policies are making your life better? The only person who asks that question is you. That's it, guys. Right? Sweep it. Now, as you understand, honestly, whose policies, right, make your life better, because business and government is about making people's lives better, right? Now, as you understand that context now, what's your voting strategy moving forward? If you're cool with the current with President Biden's policies, vote for Biden. If you're not cool with it, vote for Trump. If you don't like them both, vote for independent. It's on you. It's on you. Everybody has the right to vote. But I'm saying is vote on the record. Stand on the record, guys. All right? Right? And I would say this here, and I would say keep it. Right? Keep it. Start thinking and or voting generationally. Right? Yes, you're voting for today, but as you begin to look through all of the policies, right, of both candidates, right, begin to examine which candidate's policies make this world better for my children's children. Because a wise man plans for 3 generations, you and 2 generations after you. Simple. If your vote or your rationale begins and ends with you, you have failed. I feel sorry for you. The wealthiest place, guys, in the world is the cemetery. Because there's so much untapped wealth and potential there that the world never got to experience. Don't let that be you. Again, begin to think generationally and watch how your perspective changes. Yeah. Right. Gotcha. So guys, man, hey, give me your thoughts, guys. Does it make sense? Do you disagree? You agree? I want to make sure that I did not focus on, I'm not trying to, is this not for pro or against any other candidate? I wanted to examine both of the cases and really focus on the constitutionality of both cases, right? That's why I always say, what the Constitution say? What the paper say, baby? The paper say. Is that simple? Give your thoughts. Let me know what you think about it, guys. Does it make sense? We have a comment on Instagram that says, it will only be better if the president's policies would apply to their lives. I can understand that. If you unpack that a little bit more, that'd be great, but I can understand that. Again, if you're, and also I'll say this here real quickly before I go to our sponsor. If you are depending upon a politician, a president, a local, federal, or county, or statewide politician to solve your problems, you have lost. You already lost. I feel sorry for you because they're going to let you down. I don't know about you. When it comes to solving my problems, I bet on myself first versus somebody else second. How about betting on you? How about you begin to bet on you? Yes, engage the politician. Yes, engage business leaders. Engage them all. But if it begins and ends with the politician, you have lost. It's over. It's a wrap. But if you have not, as a friend of mine says, future looks bright. If you begin to reinvent yourself over and over and over again, future looks bright. You can get the bag too. All right, guys. Well, man, we have a new sponsor, guys. American Rounds. They're the first AI-powered ammo vending machine at grocery stores, guys. It is exploding like crazy, man. They've been very fortunate to sponsor us. Full disclosure, I am an investor and partner in this company as well, also, guys. But hey, man, let's listen to what they got to say real quickly, guys, and give me thoughts. Here we go.
The CEO of American Rounds. We are in Pell City, Alabama at Fresh Value grocery store installing the first ever automated retail machine for ammunition. The stores were really the inspiration for it. I mean, they knew their customer base and they came to us and thought this would be a really good opportunity for their customer base. There's a lot of hunting community here in Pell City and thought that their customers would love an opportunity to be able to buy ammunition here at the store.
We're super excited to offer, what we think is the first ammo kiosk. We're always looking for ways to give our customer another reason to come visit our stores. Anything that we can do to help them make their shopping trips easier based on the feedback that we've gotten just from customers today. They are so excited about us having the ammo kiosk.
We're getting ammo! Woo!
One of the ways we're changing the landscape of ammunition sales is to make it more available. Being able to move into a place like a grocery store, supermarket makes it a lot more available to the public. But we're taking a different approach to it. Traditionally, ammunition is sold at outdoor type stores, your sporting goods stores, and it just sits on a shelf. It's very accessible. Because of that, there's a high rate of theft. But with our machines, as you can see here, we have a very secure automated retail machine. We're able to age verify. We scan a driver's license. It then takes 360 facial recognition for the purchase and matches it to the ID. So the machines really provide an opportunity for safe, affordable, and available ammunition sales.
There is no doubt that foot traffic will increase based on the feedback that we've gotten. And again, we're super excited not only to have it here, but in other locations in Fresh Value as well.
We're really excited about where we're going. We are going to continue to expand here in Alabama. We have a machine slated to go into Oklahoma, Louisiana, Texas. So over the next year, we're looking forward to, seeing these roll out all throughout the South and the Southeast.
Guys, that is American Rounds. Guys, American Rounds, the world's first AI-powered unattended ammo vending machine to where you can actually buy ammo, guys, at your local grocery store in 30 seconds or less. It is crazy, great, highly secured, follows all of the state, county, and local laws, more safer than actually acquiring ammo at a local hunting store, guys. It's right there at your fingertips. And while you're shopping for your groceries, right, you can also get your ammo on the go. And for those hunters, you have to drive 30 to 40, 50 minutes away to get your ammo. Just go around the corner to your grocery store and pick it up. Pick up some additional ammo if you run out of some when you're actually shooting or hunting, I would say. But guys, man, thank you so much for your time, man. God bless you, man. I end it every single time, guys, before you leave. And while you can, you see that thing, baby. Take that damn picture and give it to your mama now. You guys see you next week, guys, and holla at your partner. God bless you guys. Peace.